To answer the question how to accompany families from school, we are going to approach it from three places that seem fundamental to us. 1. Firstly, analyze the characteristics of the current context of this moment that we are going through, so that in the second moment we can look at what possibilities exist in the family-school relationship. Finally, we will close this video with some conclusions. We are facing the emergence of a pandemic, a completely new phenomenon for the world. It has been a long time since we last experienced such an experience, and therefore it places all of us in a different situation, in which, without a doubt, there will be a lot to learn from this experience. On the other hand, perhaps you also have to unlearn. Because we have built a society based on action, production, and consumption, seeking excessively the gratification of having. And a moment like this, in which, associated with the pandemic, a scenario of confinement also appears, takes us to a total halt, where that action and that production have decreased in intensity and in many cases have stopped. Therefore, it is a different condition for everyone and, of course, also for the school. And the question that the school could ask itself at this moment is, what situation is the educational community going through? Just like everyone else, but with an emphasis on families. And there we could find answers in two directions. On the one hand, situations that the family is probably facing, more adverse situations. And on the other hand, I haven't felt more resilient. Opportunities and learning experiences as adverse situations. One from which no family escapes is that of loss. It is a moment in which we have lost part of the well-being we had, we have lost social contact, we have lost certain levels of freedom. And all of that, in some way, has an impact on our lives. On the other hand, in more difficult scenarios, there are families who are facing illness and also death. Another scenario that this pandemic places us in is that of physical separation and isolation. Educational centers have had to close and we all stay in our homes. All these characteristics of this current moment undoubtedly position us in an area of uncertainty, a society of uncertainty that many sociologists have been telling us about for decades, but which, however, today I believe that it is clearer to all of us what it is about. On the other hand, in that sense of resilience and of rescuing learning and the positive and what will make us evolve at this moment, one of the words that appears most frequently is that of time. We are spending time with our families, we are spending time with ourselves, and also in that time they are. We are exploring new ways of collaborating with each other, and also of collaborating with society. How can we contribute? The loss of that freedom or that well-being that we had been enjoying. It leads us at this moment to value other things, to value health, to value the meeting or hug with our loved ones. Furthermore, a resilient aspect of this time would be that of creativity. And it requires us to find new creative ways of communicating and relating. And this is interesting for our growth as well. Finally, this uncertainty requires all of us to further encourage our patience and cultivate it even more. It is a moment in which he asks us for patience and that our students are somehow learning it. They have had to be very patient until they can leave home, and they will also have to be patient to return to schools or to other forms of normality to which we are accustomed. So, we believe that it can help the school at this time to ask about the quality of family life and what the family life of ours, our students, and their families will be like. This concept is timely at this time, because it tells us that it is the degree to which the needs of family members are met, the degree to which they enjoy time together, and the degree to which they do things that are important to them. This space, this confinement scenario, will undoubtedly interrogate and go. It's going to show us what that quality of family life is like. It will depend on the contexts. It will depend on those personal factors, on interactions between family members, but it will also depend on how we welcome this state of alarm and stress, which is undoubtedly this area of uncertainty. So more than ever, this situation makes us see how all these interrelationships greatly influence our development. They greatly influence how our students come to school or how our students find themselves or how they are. It is a moment, therefore, in which the teaching teams, the educational centers, the environment, this entire framework is constituted as an educational community that is already constituted as an educational community. Even if we are not together in a physical space, it is going to be very important whatever that interrelationship is at this moment. On the other hand, it must be said that from the educational field, there is a certain lack of knowledge about how families and students experience moments of loss and pain. It is something that has been relegated to other scenarios, either the psychological field or the biomedical field. However, the educational scenario, which is a scenario of life, has not been echoed with the force that we would like from the scenarios of loss and pain. And we believe that it is an important moment to rescue him and know how families are experiencing this moment. Recovering these lost moments requires cooperative efforts between family and school. Therefore, once we have analyzed this context and the situations and the current context and the situation of the school, given this context, we want to look what opportunities or possibilities could be opened in the family-school relationship. To do this, we are starting from the concept of personalized training and comprehensive education proposed by the educational law. It is important to talk about comprehensive development always, but without a doubt, at this moment in which the academic and the professional, of course, are there and are essential, but in which the cognitive, the emotional, and the social. It takes on important relevance in circumstances like this. Furthermore, as I was saying, this situation makes these fields, the personal, the school, the social, the family, more interacted. Let's see more of the influence they have on each other. Therefore, these areas are part of this personalized training and comprehensive education. And to be able to look at education in this way, at the educational moment, we believe that it is important to rescue the concept of orientation approach, which is part of, without a doubt, the educational professional field. Education entails working from a guiding approach, and this orientation also has a very important edge, which is the preventive dimension. We believe that this is a very opportune moment to work from the guidance and preventive dimension, to prevent certain difficulties, certain adversities that may arise when returning to schools. For this, it will be essential to know the situation of families, and in that wanting to know, we have a privileged space within schools, that is tutorial action, understanding tutorial action as personalized and continuous support to the students, and to be able to provide this support to the students, without a doubt we have to have families. That tutorial action that seeks to promote the family-school relationship. We believe that there could be 3 interesting spaces at this time, 3 spaces that are also progressive. First, there would have to be one that facilitates the second and thus the third. This first space is to promote the communication meeting between the family and the tutor. The second space would be to create in small groups strategies to support the educational task that families are facing at this moment. On the other hand, it would be interesting if, as an educational community, we favored channels of participation and belonging to this community. We would like some significant actions to remember later when we have to come back. For that family tutor space, we have an essential tool in education that is the family interview, and that we invite at this time to carry out family interviews. That space where you can exchange information, promote personal relationships, and learn about how families are living. This moment we invite from the concept of quality of family life. He can help us. This family interview does not seek to give advice, it does not seek to give too much guidance. At this moment, what we are looking for most is to give the family the floor, summon it, allow the narration of this process that we are experiencing, and we as professionals to be able to collect, recognize, and document what the families and students are experiencing. This space of trust will undoubtedly have very positive effects for our student. On the other hand, after having carried out family interviews, we would advise supporting the family's educational task. Let us remember that at this moment, the family, many of them also teleworking from their homes, are assuming the educational task 100%. And perhaps it would also be a good time to promote that relationship and that quality of the relationship, creating small groups based on respect, from freedom, valuing what each family is doing, and giving them timely information, training, space for analysis and reflection, so that they resolve their doubts with us, and that they also feel accompanied in their educational task. Finally, from the management teams, from a broader place in the educational center, community actions could be carried out that would make us feel that we are united at this moment. That would involve all of us, and that allow us to feel that we belong to all these actions that, as you can see, put above all the emphasis on the relationship and on linking. They are going to be able to be carried out thanks to information and communication technologies, which is the new educational space in which we are. But that's not going to be the difference. The difference will be how we take care of that relationship and the quality of that relationship at this time as conclusions. We believe that if from this context, taking into account the characteristics we have mentioned, and giving possibilities for the relationship between family and school to be opened, from these places, we will be working from that guiding approach and from that preventive dimension of education that is so important, and this will allow us to return at any time. For us education professionals to have a clearer map of how the students are doing, what they have experienced, and what strategies we should implement to support them. On the other hand, secondly, we would allow that personalized training and comprehensive education that the law calls for, and will also allow us to know how to detect. Which of our families are going through situations of grief that students have also gone through significant losses? In this way, we will be able to accompany these processes as well. And finally, as I told you, all this new space is thanks to information and communication technologies, but nevertheless the relational and linking between families and teachers will be a quality factor, a preventive factor, and a factor that promotes our sense of belonging and educational community. And this will undoubtedly have a very positive impact on our students. So, from this analysis, I hope that this video is useful to you, that it has served you, and I say to all of you that thank you very much for your attention.